You knew this video were coming at some point. Retirement's good. Okay, welcome back to my second channel, team. If you're new, my name is Nile Wilson. Subscribe. You can change your mind at any point, it's completely free. With it being January 2021, Nile Wilson announces his retirement due to mainly due to injury. I felt it'd be fitting to sit down for however long this is going to take. It could take a while, and chat through every single injury I have ever had when doing the sport of gymnastics, and probably rating them from like least painful to most painful. Although it's difficult to remember pain, otherwise I won't be covered in tattoos and females won't have 2 babies. Hopefully I can have some best amount of footage to go on top of this to help tell the story. But without further ado, number 1. Now this was an important part in my career, I think. I suffered quite a traumatic elbow injury at 9 years old. If I can get this right, no one will understand what I'm saying here. I believe it is osteochondritis of the capitulum I got when I was 9. What is that? I basically developed this disease in my elbow, which is where the bone disintegrated and disappeared, and then it grew back, basically, I think. And I wasn't allowed to put my hands down and put any weight through my arms for 18 months. Not many people know this about my career. Actually, at the time of that happening, I felt quite relieved. I don't think I was enjoying my gymnastics. It's difficult to tell a 9-year-old to do 24 hours training a week and go through all that pain. And basically, I got a sort of a slap in the face early on in life, which then really made me realise how much I loved the sport, and it built up a fire in my belly to sort of deal with that little bit of adversity. At the time, you didn't really know what it was, and I thought it was cool because I could play cricket and play football for the school and for Farsley and stuff. And yeah, I just did other sports at the time, but I still went to gymnastics 2 or 3 times a week without putting my hands down. I actually competed without putting my hands down in a floor routine in Hungary, Budapest. But I realised for that 18-month period, watching my mates do what I wasn't able to do, having the sport taken away from me for such an early age. Fun fact, I think that's what gave me the fire. You know, I had the natural talent, but it's what gave me the work ethic to do what I did in the sport. So yeah, between 9 and 11 years old, I already suffered. There was no surgery involved. I remember having an X-ray every 3 months, 3 or 4 months, which obviously probably isn't good for my health, all the gamma radiation. I wish I could find those X-ray pictures, but I remember going for the first time, and this specialist, Dr. Templeton, rest in peace, he said I had this thing and told me I couldn't do gymnastics. And then 3 months later, I went back, and the bone in my elbow had just gone. Compared it to the front one, just disappeared. And then throughout that 18 months, I kept going back, and then it grew back a little bit, and then a little bit, and a little bit, and then until I cracked on. Right! Yo, so in quick pause from the ridiculous injury story. So a lot at the end of these vlogs, I've been saying join the Wisonator Club. Now there's a top link in the description. This year, 2021 in January, we started this incredible community. Done a 3-week reboot in January where it's kind of just all about sort of starting the year right, focus on the 4 pillars which I believe are the things that we need to focus on to become the best versions of ourselves and essentially start the journey to achieving what we want to achieve in this life. 1 is nutrition, exercise and moving, constantly developing your mindset, personal development, and also community, being a part of a team of like-minded people, being accountable for that, and just extracting energy and giving energy to everyone around you. Now, this has been so successful. We're rolling it out into February. So listen, all you need to do is just click the link in the description, wisonatorclub.com, and fill in your email, and we're going to be jumping on a Zoom call Monday the 1st of February with all the information you'll need on that. To sign up in February, but it's been absolutely incredible. I'll getting to know each other on a personal basis. We're having weekly calls, mindset calls, live workouts. Emily is going to join. If you're a fan of Emily, she's going to be doing live stretching routines in the morning. Joanna's involved, my manager. Everyone is involved in the Wisonator Club, part of Team Wilson. It's just so good. Put it in the description, get involved. Back to the injury. I'm gonna try and go in chronological order here. Secondly, I had problems with my shoulders. I always had a stiff upper back. Got a little bit of scoliosis both ways. My back shape has always been very rounded, as you can see, and sort of hollow at the bottom, so that's been my natural back shape, which wasn't great at the time for my shoulders, and I think it was a very repetitive sort of strain on my back. This got mega stiff at times when I wasn't having sort of frequent physio. I was gaming a lot when I was in my teens. I used to sit and play Call of Duty, like absolute obsessive. My shoulders always sat forward, so for my whole career I've had impingement in the backs of my shoulders. I believe when I was sort of 13, 14, I had a tear in my right shoulder, and that set me out for a little bit. I just remember my shoulder's been in pain for months, even years and years and years. Slowly moving on, at 15 years old, in 2011, I suffered a double stress fracture of my lower back. So that was partly to do with the shape of my back, so that was really stiff, which put a lot of pressure on one point, all the impact, bang, 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 bang. Double stress fracture at L5, I believe. So again, rubbish, out for months, that hurt a lot. I remember at the time I was just competing for months and months with a sore back. I was thinking, I don't get it, like, got it physio. Eventually I had the scan, and then obviously a double stress fracture, which was a shame, put me out for a period of time. Following that sort of 16, 17 years old, wasn't too bad. I had an AC joint problem on my left shoulder, like a floating bone, I can't remember what it was called, but that caused me a lot of pain at the time. Apart from that, nothing too serious in that period of time. I had a few injections. Right, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go through injections. I want to say in one piece how many steroid injections I've had in my body. Right, it goes 2 in this shoulder, 3 in my neck, epidural / steroid, 3 in my right wrist, 5 in my left wrist. This is all over a period of time, so how many is that? 13 steroid injections across probably a 5-year period. That's over 2 a year. Oh my days. Having steroid injections was sort of like very normalised in this sport. They did work, they did the trick. There were long-term effects to them if you had a lot, which obviously I think my wrists are probably going to be sore for the rest of my life, because I think it slowly disintegrates tissue for long-term career. But when you're an athlete in it and you want to win Olympic medals, you don't really care about any of that. That's normal as well. I think every athlete is the same. They're not that damaging, really. Right, where were I? 2014 was a massive year. First up, the senior team became the most successful junior gymnast of all time. Went to the World Championships and became 4th in the high bar final. At that World Championships, I had a mega sore wrist. This wrist was absolutely knackered, like so sore. I ended up pulling out the all-round final. As soon as I got home, I had a scan, saw the specialist. I tore my cartilage off the bone and had my first surgery, which was my right wrist. That was painful. I remember competing with local anaesthetic just to get me through the pain. That was sort of the tactic at the time, because obviously I desperately wanted to do the World Championships. But it was all fine. Got home, had the surgery. That was sort of a 6-month rehab, which was a bit shit. I just want to say as well, like, you're in pain every day. I torn my quad, like, muscle soreness is just ridiculous all the time. Pull the amount of muscles that you pull, like, but it's just kind of normalised, really. They're just like the little tiny things. I once fractured my foot. We're getting to the nitty-gritty stuff now. So from that surgery, coming back after the wrist, I then managed to get back for the following World Championships and then do the Olympics. So that, timing-wise, my injuries have been pretty good. I've not missed any hugely major ones until we get to the neck, but did the Olympics. Following on from that was fine, just sort of slowly get back into training. January 2017, that's when I snapped my ankle. There's a video of me doing it, which was horrendous. Absolutely. Like, the pain of, you think about the pain of rolling your ankle. I came from height and snapped all the ligaments on the outside, which obviously I had surgery and got them repaired. Pain-wise, at that time, I even felt like I was gonna pass out or vomit, like I went drip wire. One of my teammates in the gym ran and got a sick bucket. I was like, I'm gonna be sick. I didn't. So yeah, it's ligaments in my ankle. Then got back from that year I made it back for the World Championships, missed out Europeans, obviously made it back for the World Championships, did really well, came 6th all round, which was fantastic. And then we get to 2018, and I think at the end of 2017, that's when I fractured my foot, everything was fine. And then I started to develop this hand pain, which was always, it was a nightmare, man. When we're talking pain levels, I think I damaged the bundle of nerves that are in your hand. So it was like, this pad here, imagine every time I put it down, and it was the worst on the pommel handles. That's why I couldn't do pommels at the Commonwealth Games, but I didn't put my hands on the handles. It was just like a knife was being stabbed in my hand whenever I put pressure on it. So I kind of had to manage that, which then slowly started my issues in this wrist, which still today is the worst injury in terms of like there right now. That kind of developed into that. It's when I started having the frequent injections in this wrist. I had injections in the hand to try and numb down that pain. Got through the Commonwealth Games, and then the neck happened, so the bulging disc happened in 2018, and that pain was just horrendous, which then obviously a year later it fully ripped. I had the fusion surgery, and then after the fusion surgery I tried to get back, or having injections in this wrist. Then my shoulder happened, my neural damage in my shoulder, which still doesn't work today, which is partly the reason why I've retired. Then straight away after the shoulder happened, I had this wrist operated on because of the amount of pain, trying to reduce all the inflammation, just kind of burn it all off, clean it out basically. Which didn't really work in the long run, like my wrist still hurts a lot. I think the amount of damage I've caused to it. And then I retired. So that's about it. That's about it. I think if we were to rate the most painful, it has to be the neck. It has to be the neck. It's the most recent one as well. Like I say, you struggle to remember pain. The ankles were horrendous when I first did it, but then the thing with the neck is you roll your ankle, you snap it, you feel vomit. If you're gonna pass out or vomit, the pain is 10 out of 10. But then 3 hours later, once you've iced it and it's calmed down, you have your foot in the air, it's gone. The neck, like I say, when the disc had popped out and it was on top of the nerve, irritating it, like squashing the nerve, that pain was between 7 and 10 out of 10, 24/7 for 2 weeks until I had the surgery and they took it off the nerve. It was weird. It was like literally having the surgery, it was like a complete relief. When I woke up, obviously I was in a lot of pain from where they'd opened me up and through the front and all that, but I could tell my symptoms were different. Like obviously they took the disc off the squashed nerve, but that 2 weeks was just probably the worst thing I've experienced in terms of pain. All down my arm, into my hand, into these 2 fingers, like knives, shooting sharp, dull aches down my spine. It was just blah. But yeah, listen, it's a tough sport. I feel like I've had a bit of a shitty run, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of athletes that are at the level that I'm at, that obviously most of them, everyone will have their own injury stories. Some I find are quite, I don't know whether it's just because they train smarter or the body is a bit more brittle. I think that's the right word. Is that the right word? Where they kind of have a better run with injuries. I just think part of my nature, personality, everything, all or nothingness, the obsessiveness, it was just extremes. My career's just been extremes, extreme highs, extreme lows. And to be honest, if I go back, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's sort of developed me into the person I am today. I'm sort of weirdly grateful it all happened. Thanks for watching, team. Just a reminder that this is my second YouTube channel, the Wisonator. I want you to join the Wisonator Club, click the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. I'd love for you to comment any of your injuries down below. I'm going to see if I can read and reply to them all, and I'd just be really interested to know. Obviously I've had a pretty rough run with injuries in sport. Good to remember, a lot always have it worse. There's a lot of that that definitely had it worse. I think my brother Ashley Watson, training partner for many years, he's been one of my biggest inspirations, more than he knows really. He probably absolutely won't be watching this, but going through that all, Ash was missing out, and the timing of his injuries was really crucial. He missed out on all the major championships, like didn't necessarily have the career that he dreamed of. Had 4 surgeries on 1 leg. Although I've had a bad run, I've been really fortunate. But anyway, listen, comment your injuries down below if you've had any. If you've not, I envy you. Nah, I don't really. Just be safe, do what you love. Gymnastics is a tough sport. You have to put your body through hell and high water to get to the top level, and if you love it, then it's totally worth it. Alright guys, I don't really know what to say on the outro of this channel, but the screen will switch off now.